You ever have one of those days that just turns your whole life upside down? I swear, if you told me 3 years ago that I'd end up falling for a man who'd never been kissed, never really lived, all because my 5-year-old son liked the way the marble patterns danced across some stranger's mansion floor, I would have laughed you out of Oakland. But you know what they say, life's got a sick sense of humor. And sometimes, all it takes is one email. Or in my case, one ridiculous job offer and a little boy obsessed with patterns. I remember standing there in my cramped kitchen, hands dusted with flour, Alexander humming to himself, arranging his toy cars in those perfect little lines, the world outside feeling miles away. And then ding. That email, private chef position, immediate start, for $1,500 a week. My whole body went cold, then hot, like you ever have hope and panic hit you at the exact same time? Yeah, that happened. And as soon as I read that number, I thought, no way. It's a scam. Or maybe, just maybe, it's the break I've been begging for. 24 hours later, I was standing in front of those steel gates at 2847 Broadway, Alexander's little SpongeBob backpack hanging off his shoulder, my hand shaking as I pressed the intercom. I didn't know then that nothing about that day would be normal. The voice on the other end was clipped, businesslike. When those gates slid open, man, it felt like stepping into another universe. Floor-to-ceiling windows, marble everywhere, and silence so thick you could drown in it. Alexander clung to my side until he saw the marble, his eyes going wide. That's when I heard the footsteps of the man himself. Asher Lawn. He came down those stairs like someone who'd practiced every movement since birth, suit perfect, hair perfect, eyes that looked like they'd never seen sunlight. He didn't smile, didn't blink, just took us in. Mid-jumpy, tired, desperate. My kid already rocking, fingers tracing lines in the stone. The interview was all business. No calls, no music, silence during meal prep and service. "Do you understand?" he asked. I told him, "Mr. Lawn, sometimes the best conversations happen without words." And he just looked at me, like he was deciding if I was crazy or maybe, just maybe, honest. He showed us the kitchen every gadget a chef could dream of, listed out his routines like he was reading from a playbook. And I stood there, thinking about bills, about the therapy wait list, about everything I'd given up for Alexander. "Can you handle these requirements?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "We'll see," he replied. But kids, they always know more than we give them credit for. Alexander, out of nowhere, asks, "Mr. Asher, do you like pancakes?" And this man, who looked like he hadn't tasted happiness in years, just paused. "I don't know," he said. "I've never had them made with love." And right then, I realized this wasn't just a job. It was the beginning of something I didn't even have a name for yet. That first week was a blur. I'd wake up before dawn, Alexander still curled up in bed, the world dark and quiet. The house always felt too big, like it was waiting for something to happen. I started making pancakes, the way Grandma Rose taught me, folding the batter gently, trying to pour love into every movement. And when Asher came into the kitchen always dressed to the nines, but with shadows under his eyes, I offered him the first pancake. "Try this," I said. He ate in silence, every bite like he was testing something dangerous. "It's different," he finally said. "Not just warm, but warm, I nodded. "That's what love tastes like when you make it with flour and eggs." He looked at me, almost like he believed me. By the third morning, something started to shift. Alexander found stories in the marble patterns, lines like rivers that stopped and started, and Asher for the first time crouched down beside him, soupy damn, to listen. Alexander said, "Everything tells stories. Even people." And Asher, this man who could silence a room with a glance, just let the words hang there, raw and true. You know what's wild? It wasn't the big moments that changed everything. It was the little things. Asher asking if he could make pancakes for Alexander too. Watching my son teach a millionaire how to count the good things like marble veins and toy cars and hugs. One day, Alexander asked, "Do you have friends, Mr. Asher?" And Asher, honest to a fault, said, "I have colleagues." Alexander shook his head, sticky with syrup, and told him, "Friends are people who like your broken parts too." I watched them both, the man learning how to be happy and the boy who already knew. One morning, Asher surprised Alexander with a dinosaur puzzle pieces numbered, perfectly organized. For a kid who lived for patterns, it was the best gift in the world. And then Asher turned to me, nervous as a teenager, and asked if I'd show him how to make coffee taste like comfort, like home. We stood in that kitchen, side by side, my hands guiding his, and for the first time, he let himself be vulnerable. "I think I'm falling in love with you," he whispered, voice trembling. "It terrifies me." I told him, love isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. And I kissed him, soft, sure, scared, and everything changed. But happiness, I've learned, is always on borrowed time. The world doesn't like to let people like us be happy quietly. One afternoon, a video of Alexander's meltdown in a restaurant went viral, strangers judging, calling me a bad mother, tearing us apart in 15 seconds. I nearly broke, thinking maybe they were right. But a share stood by me, defended me, told me I was extraordinary, even when I couldn't believe it myself. And Alexander got, that kid climbed into my lap and told me, "The bad people don't know about your hugs. Their words don't count." Sometimes, children know more about love than all the adults in the world. For a while, we found a rhythm pancakes in the morning, marble stories, cautious trust. But then I found the folder. My name on it, tucked under legal briefs. Asher had investigated me. Background checks, medical records, everything. Even a video, saved before we ever kissed. I felt betrayed, like all the progress we'd made was a lie. We fought, words sharp as knives. Trust means believing without proof, I told him. Control means never being vulnerable. He stood there, broken, admitting he'd never learned to let go. We left the mansion. Alexander told me maybe the marble man had forgotten how to count good things. I wasn't sure some people could ever learn. But sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is admit you've been living afraid. Asher started therapy. He tried to fix everything the only way he knew how: plans, money, presentations. But none of it filled the empty space left by our absence. One night, he showed up at my door, an envelope in hand. No grand gestures, just a letter. He told me about his mother leaving, how he grew up believing he had to earn love, how he was terrified of not being enough. But he wanted to learn. He wanted to risk being hurt because maybe, just maybe, some things are worth more than safety. I read that letter twice, tears streaming, my heart breaking and healing all at once. I called him. "Some foundations can be rebuilt," I said. But there were no more investigations, no more control, just honesty, therapy, and a willingness to try. Coming back was like stepping into a new life. Alexander ran to his red car, the one Asher had kept safe. We made pancakes together, Alexander arranging ingredients, Asher cracking eggs, all of us learning how to trust again. Alexander asked if we'd get married. Asher's answer: "I'd keep learning for the rest of my life." He made a space for Alexander in his office, gave me a bracelet, 3 charms, a whisk, a marble, a heart. "Not perfect love," he said, "but real love. Chosen love." For the first time, I believed him. And you know what? Life kept moving. 2 years later, I waked to laughter in the kitchen. Alexander, now 7, measuring flour with Asher, my husband. The marble counters, once spotless, now bear the scars of living coffee rings, flour dust, the burn mar from Alexander's first attempt at breakfast in bed. Our family is messy, noisy, and utterly ours. We talk to other families now about building trust after pain, about how perfection is overrated, about how the best things in life aren't planet theory discovered. Alexander says marble patterns are like families, different, unexpected, but beautiful when you look closely enough. Asher holds my hand without thinking, no longer afraid to be seen, to be loved, to love back. One morning, as the sun paints the marble floor in gold and rose, Alexander finds a pattern shaped like infinity. "You know what that means?" he asks. "Forever." And for the first time, Asher isn't scared. He wraps an arm around me, helps Alexander trace the pattern, and says, "Forever sounds like home." 2 years ago, I thought survival was the best I could hope for. Now I know better. Some foundations, when rebuilt with trust and patience, can weather any storm. We're not perfect. We're not always safe. But we are real. So, let me ask you, when it comes to love and trust, would you choose safety or would you risk everything for something real? Have you ever had to rebuild after everything broke? Share your story in the comments because I believe we all have patterns worth tracing if only we're brave enough to look. Thank you for listening. If this story meant something to you, let me know below. Your voice matters more than you think.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình là mình lên mạng xã hội tìm hiểu những video.
Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to.
Yeah, use the fence.